Good morning, I'm Maiki Oreta and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, and the industry leaders shaping our future. And in each episode, we'll explore how they're staying ahead in their respective industries, one at a time. Now, joining us today are Theresa, Leung, and Richard Panganiban, the founders and managing partners of Titan Golden Visa Consultancy. They are here to share their expertise on the growing industry of global investment migration, particularly the opportunities offered by Golden Visa programs, with a focus on residency solutions in countries like Portugal, Spain, and Antigua and Barbuda. They help Filipinos navigate this evolving space. And today, we'll learn about the dynamics of this industry, its growing appeal, and what it means for Filipino investors. Welcome, Theresa and Richard.
Thank you, Maiki. Thank you for having us. Good morning.
I understand that you've been in this business for the past 3 years, relatively new, and the growth has been 30% year on year.
Correct.
But stepping back a bit, for the viewers that are not too privy about this topic, please tell us what exactly is the Golden Visa and what makes it such a game changer?
Okay. So the Golden Visa is actually a residency by investment program. So it allows certain individuals, investors, and their families permission to live, work, and study in a specific country, often with visa-free access to other nations. So it's a game changer because you have access to better healthcare, education, and business ecosystems. Plus, there's also global mobility and wealth preservation.
Right. When you try to understand why Filipinos like this product, the top reasons are really global mobility and investment diversification. Correct. Would you say that's so?
I think a lot of our clients, yes, but also education. So a lot of our clients see this as an educational plan for their kids. If you have more than 2 kids, then it's well worth the investment because it's subsidized for certain governments.
Yeah, so
it really opens the door to that part of the world, right? Whether that's Europe, Antigua Barbuda, or Greece. So, you know, the opportunities there are now available to your family for investment or these things at work and study. So,
so it's an investment on multiple fronts.
Correct.
Now, you know, for the parameters of this interview, you guys cater to Portugal, Spain, Antigua and Barbuda, and Greece.
Correct.
Of these countries, what is the most popular for Filipinos?
I would say at the moment it's Spain. One is really because we have quite an affinity with Spain. Spain is very, very familiar to Filipinos, as well as, you know, the program right now. I think in terms of the investment, qualified investment, Spain is still offering real estate as that option. So that is something in terms of as an investor, very easy to understand and digest. And we've been very happy also with how they handle the program in terms of processing. So they've been very, very quite a star in terms of how they accept investors.
Okay, typically for each of these countries, how much do you need to invest in order to qualify for the Golden Visa program?
Right. So currently for Spain, it's a minimum investment of 500,000 euros into real estate. For Portugal, 500,000 euros in qualified funds. For Greece, it starts at 250,000 euros, but in certain areas. So again, the landscape keeps on changing. So the laws also change almost like in the recent years, annually or biannually.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a very dynamic industry. And in terms of policy, it's just getting harder and harder with each new year. And so in terms of policy dynamics, how often are there policy changes in this space?
Well, I think we've seen really from the beginning, like programs like Australia, for example. Australia had minimum investment before 1 million. Now they've increased the minimum investment to 5 million. In countries like Portugal as well, last year they decided to remove real estate as a qualified investment. So now you're only allowed to invest in funds. Spain also, there was a move by the Congress to remove the Golden Visa program altogether. But again, it's still under deliberation in their government. So we were seeing really pressure from the EU and governments to maybe wind down these kinds of programs.
So act fast, yeah. But for as long as you've already applied,
Yes.
you're already in the program.
That's right.
And
So as long as your application is lodged within it's still allowed. So we really work with our partners in these countries to really determine what's the safe window in which you're still able to invest and get that residency. So yes, it's really working closely with them because things can change. Thankfully, they don't change that quickly because these are laws and the government takes time to deliberate these things. So so there are windows.
So for the host country,
Yeah.
the benefits are clear. It's a nice economic boost. But there has been clamor, such as in Spain and Portugal, because of people acquiring property in these areas. It kind of prices the locals out of the market. Right. So, which is how much of a challenge is this for you? How increased investments in these countries increase the prices, and there's a lot of clamor from locals about hey, it's like I can't afford to live where I live anymore because all these foreigners are buying up prices and driving up the costs. How do you deal with that sort of thing?
Well, that's right. So I think there was really that kind of pressure locally from the locals, right, in terms of the housing prices, rental prices. But the reality of it, Golden Visa investment in real estate is really a tiny portion of the total real estate investment in those countries. So we really view it as more of a political move.
Right. So if it's going up, it's not just because of you guys.
It's definitely not Golden
Yeah.
Visa because it's really
Right.
a small percentage.
Okay.
So it's only 1%, Mikey, to be exact. It's 1% or 0.1% only of the real estate market in terms of Golden Visa. So it will really not affect anything, but politically they will look good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's touch on the demand for the golden visas from the Philippines. You guys have done road shows in Cebu, Bacolod, CDO, and Davao, and Metro Manila, of course. How has the demand been from the Philippines? And in terms of age profile, what are the demographics of the people that avail of this program? Are they typically the older, higher net worth individuals, or are you seeing interest from the younger generations as well?
Recently, we're seeing interest from the younger generations as well. There are a lot of young families that want to enter into the program. They want to secure the future of their children, again, in terms of access to healthcare and education. So we've seen a shift, although we still have a lot of high net worth individuals that are invested in the program. But recently, young families and entrepreneurs as well for global mobility.
Yeah, because if you look at the investment amount, it's like investing in real estate in the Philippines or a condominium in the Philippines, right? So I think they view it as, maybe I'd rather invest somewhere outside and I get the cherry on top, which is my residency and that diversification. So in terms of the younger investors, yes, we are definitely seeing that coming. Yeah.
And the ultimate goal is not always citizenship.
Yes, that's right. So I think I would qualify the Golden Visa or residency by investment in two ways. So one is the ones who just want to maintain a residency, and that allows you to travel and work, and the ones that want to pursue citizenship. So yes, I mean, there's the path to citizenship. Really, there's a little bit some variation in how you will achieve that. So it really depends on what is the appetite or the interest of the investor.
You guys cover 4 countries: Portugal, Spain, Antigua and Barbuda, and Greece. How much time do applicants need to stay in these countries in order to, to get this golden visa?
Right. So for Spain, for ex-colonies, it's 2 years. 183 days per year, 2 consecutive years. The 183 days, it doesn't have to be consecutive, so you can go in and out of the country, but you have to stay for 2 consecutive years. For Portugal, it's actually there's no relocation involved. That's why actually it's a lot of our clients can't relocate or can't spend the time away from the Philippines for 2 years.
So they prefer that because that option, in effect, it's 7 days a year for 5 years. You maintain your residency. And then at the end of the 5-year residency, you can then apply for your citizenship. So in total, I think the Spain program as a path to citizenship takes about 8 years. Yeah, whereas in Spain, you can get it as little as 2.
Okay. And what about if the investment criteria isn't met after you've started the application process? With the investment having to be made upfront, there's no risk financially because you've already put it in,
Right.
right?
That's right.
But what if you aren't able to meet the terms of stay in the country? Does that roll over? Does that just extend the process?
Actually,
time?
in terms of residency, there's really no issue because for Spain, there is a 0 minimum stay requirement to keep your residency. You just have to renew your card for 1 day. For the first card, it's valid for 3 years. So after 3 years, you just go to Spain for 1 day, do your biometrics, and then the next renewal is already after 5 years. And then you can renew it in perpetuity every 5 years for Spain.
Okay. It sounds easy enough. The hardest part would be coming up with the money for the initial investment.
Right.
Okay. What are the countries with the most stable and predictable global visa policies?
I would say currently it's Portugal. In terms of golden visas that are being offered by European countries, Portugal led the way. Portugal's golden visa program started in 2012 and Spain followed suit in 2013. So in terms of a stable program, Portugal has been there for over 10 years and Spain as well. But the recent changes that happened, we think that all of migration programs tied to investment, they just make it harder for you through time. So I think if you have the money and you have, it's a great investment that is a win-win actually. Because in terms of, for Spain, the real estate investment, you will have capital appreciation. And currently, as you mentioned earlier, right, they have that housing problem. So you can see that the property prices are
going
really
up.
Going
So
up.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a nice property play as well. Are there language requirements for these countries? Portugal, Spain, Antigua and Barbuda, and Greece.
First, for Portugal and Spain, yes. So if you decide to pursue citizenship, one of the requirements is to pass an A2 level language exam, which they say is like maybe ordering from a restaurant or in that kind of level of language. But yes, but it's only when you decide to pursue this citizenship. To maintain your residency, there's no language requirement at all.
From start to finish, how long does this application typically take?
Well, like for Portugal, I think a total 8 years till you get your passport. Spain, again, 2 years.
2 years. And 2 years, that's only because we were a former colony.
Correct.
For
Correct.
others, it's
Yeah,
10 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Right. So for Filipinos, just because they colonized us for over 300 years, we
Yes.
get this benefit. All right.
Finally, a
nice to see
benefit.
some
Yes,
gains
correct.
there.
That's right.
Okay, we're going to have to hold that thought. We're going to be taking a quick break. Industry Beacon is going to be right back.
Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Rain Musngi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. The crypto market climbed over $800 billion. Tech giant Alibaba has announced plans to issue notes. Investors are anticipating a significant downward move for the cryptocurrency. Swift is adding a new chapter to her record-breaking year.
Follow the Money, 10:30 a.m.
Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Always on top.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, what does the investigation cover? We tackle the issues,
The president's immunity from suit is absolute.
we clarify matters, and we get on point.
Watch his press con. Sinabi niya na ayaw niya ng kudeta.
What is questionable about the AR, sir? The Vice President keeps insisting walang active threat kung hindi ako mamamatay.
Tignan na lang natin, mahirap pang pangunahan eh.
Pinky Webb, on point.
Good afternoon. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, lawmakers voted to impeach Leung on Saturday over his botched attempt to place a country under martial law. The Fighting Maroons dethroned the De La Salle Green Archers. The Pope noted how happy he was with the number of children he saw in Corsica during his visit. Another school shooting rocks the U.S. A teenage student opened fire. And those are the news this hour. I'm Maiki Rodriguez.
Welcome back to Industry Beacon, where we're continuing our conversation with Theresa, Leung, and Richard Panganiban, the founders and managing partners of Titan Golden Visa Consultancy. But we're diving in deep into the world of global investment migration and what it means for Filipino investors. Okay, guys, Theresa, Richard, the concept of the Golden Visa predates the pandemic. It was around in the 2000s. But how did the pandemic change the demand for this product in the Philippines in particular?
We've seen a growth in the demand, primarily also because during the pandemic, especially for Spain, right, it was easier for them to fulfill the 2-year stay requirement. So for those that have invested during that time, they would have gotten their citizenship because at the time you were allowed to work from home and, well, we had to stay at home.
Yeah, things were easier.
So a lot took that opportunity if they decided to get into that Spain program at the time. But really, during that pandemic, we were all locked up. We were all, the movement, restricted the movement. So those who had second citizenships or residencies abroad had that option to leave the country, and countries where maybe they opened up faster or sooner. So there was a little bit more mobility. And in fact, some really took the opportunity to move the whole family because the schools did open up in person much sooner. So it was with more normalcy at the time. So this really drove the demand at especially during pandemic and then post-pandemic. So the world really opened up for them. Hey, there's an option for this in case something like this might happen, or
Do you think this demand from Filipinos is going to be stable? You guys have been in this business for the past 3 years with growth of 30% year on year. What are your growth projections, moving forward over the next perhaps maybe 1 to 5 years down the line, given that host countries like Spain and Portugal and all these other countries are constantly making it more difficult to acquire the Golden Visa?
Yeah, I think really because there are potential changes in the near term, it's going to be again another mad rush for investors. So that means very stable demand and strong demand for us. We saw that when Portugal closed in 2023. There was really a rush to get into the program. Spain, we're also seeing it now. So I think because these windows are closing, there's really going to be that rush again for Filipinos to really take advantage of this program that's open. After that, after the law is really passed, we don't know what it will really look like. But then, we adjust from there.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do but to adjust.
Yeah.
Are there limits on the number of golden visas issued per country annually?
Not clear, not really clear. As far as we understand, the programs are open, and they don't really set any restrictions in terms of on a per year basis. So I think it's really like in Portugal. It really came down to perhaps the capacity of the immigration office to process, right? I think it's
interesting that you bring that up, the capacity of the immigration office to process it. This is another space that can benefit from the advent of big data and new technology, the AI and the ability to use big data. But when you look at this industry is big on documentation and big on manual review, right?
Yes.
What are the changes that you're seeing in this space with the advent of the new technologies that can perhaps make the whole process even faster?
Currently, we're not feeling it yet, but in the near future, we know that some European countries have started with e-residency cards. And also, we know that AI and technology will play a big role. But again, like with anything, maybe there's a little bit of resistance to change and they're used to certain ways. But we've seen this in Portugal. They have abolished the SEF, and now they have changed it to what they call the IMA. So they're trying to streamline the processes, and I think we're gonna get there. I'm not sure if it's sooner than later.
Yeah, we'll only see improvements.
Yes,
and eventually soon will become
hoping.
sooner.
Yes.
Yes, thank
we're
you.
always hopeful.
Okay, what's the country that offers the most budget-friendly Golden Visa program?
Let's say Antigua Barbuda at the moment. So maybe you're looking at an investment starting from 300,000 euros. And that one is a straight citizenship program. So you
In the
you
Caribbean.
invest in the Caribbean. That's right. So
Yeah.
you invest in a government fund, and within 6 months' time, you get your passport, and you're free to travel the world where
6 months time, you say?
Time.
So not only
Yes.
is it the most budget friendly, it's also they also have the fastest processing
yes,
time.
first-
I would
yes,
say
yes.
Spain is fast as well. It takes
For the
about,
residency, yes.
Yes, it
Yeah.
takes about 3 to 6 months. But in case of our clients, we've seen they have gotten their cards in a span of just 4 months from the lodging of the application.
Okay, going to the numbers. Out of all the clients you've had all these past 3 years, what is the turnover rate? I mean, does everybody that has applied, has it been 100% that all of them have gotten their golden visas?
Yes, we have a 100% success rate. The only very important qualifier in these programs is you must have a clean criminal record. So, of course, the investment, a clean criminal record, then our success rate is 100% for these investors.
Basically, since this is a law, right, the law states that if you put in the minimum investment and you have a clean criminal record, you cannot be denied the golden visa.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sounds easy peasy. How does it work? Can the children of golden visa holders, are they guaranteed for as long as they're under a certain age, as long as they're,
Yes, it's a 3-generation program. So the main investor plus spouse, dependent parents over the age of 65. But we've had clients with parents that are 60 years of age that we were able to bring into the program with some additional documentation, but no problem. And then dependent children under the age of 18, or as long as you can prove the dependency. I think the oldest that we were able to reunify was 26 or 27 years old.
Okay, so for the people out there watching that are really interested in this golden visa program, that want more information, what advice can you give them as they initiate this process?
I think really make sure your advisors are reputable, right? I mean, look into their background, look at the program as well that you have a good interest in, or maybe appetite in terms of, do you want to go for residency or a path to citizenship? Look at also the developers in terms of if it's a real estate investment, and just make sure you check that everything's above board. These guys have a good track record, and just really be, like any investment, just be sure that you're comfortable with, the investment track, because there are options for like Portugal now, it's funds, real estate, so for Spain, so just really make sure you have a good understanding of what really is comfortable or investment
Just to
for
add
you.
to what Richard said, in terms of our partner developer in Spain, we have no construction risk because most of the property offerings that we have, whether it be residential or commercial, are actually
Built already.
and also tenanted. So let's say for our commercial properties, we have lease contracts for 10 to 25 or even 30 years. So it's a hassle-free investment, really.
Okay, interesting. And the demand from Filipinos, are they more interested in residential spaces or commercial spaces, or is it all about what's easiest to lease out?
I think initially it's residential, right? Because when you go look at investment abroad, or it's a second home, right? So initially probably residential. But our focus, like in Spain, has been more commercial. Why? Because our developer is very strong with doing that. And what's nice about investing in commercial, one is they're already tenanted, and you get the yield right away. So, and because you're not familiar already not yet familiar with the country, you have that. You can now take the time to, when you visit, make some time there, get familiar with the place, and maybe identify where your dream, perhaps, residence would be.
Okay, and just because it's Christmas, I wanted to ask you a question. If you were to gift someone a golden visa, it would be to which country?
I would say for me, it's a toss-up between Spain and Portugal. The reason being is that, of course, as Filipinos, we have a strong affinity to Spain, right? And I appreciate the fast processing time because, of course, I mean, you want to hold it in your hand, right? You want that residency card. You want that visa-free access to the, I think, for the citizenship, for the passport, it's 189 countries for Spain. And similarly for Portugal as well. But once you get your residency card, it's visa-free access to the Schengen countries, right? So it's a toss-up between Spain and Portugal. Portugal also because of the affordability, you know, and they have a very lax lifestyle, which I think is also very attractive to Filipinos.
Okay. All right. What about you, Richard? If you could give someone with a golden visa, which country would it be?
I would say if the stay requirement you can fulfill for Spain, the 183 days for 2 consecutive years, I would give them Spain because that is really the quickest path to citizenship. If you're not able to fulfill that, Portugal for me is really a gem because you just need to stay 7 days a year for 5 years. Then you can apply for your citizenship. So I think those two programs, depending on the investor, that would be a perfect gift. Yes.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard and Theresa, for sharing your insights on the this interesting industry, this golden visa industry. Very nice learning from you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us, Maiki.
And that's it for today's show. I'm Maiki Oreta. Catch the Bilyonaryo News Channel on Free TV Channel 31 and on cable via Signal Channel 24. Thank you for watching the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on top.